On the morning of the first frost, when the pumpkin leaves turned brown and curled at the edges, little Bunny found his basket empty. It was a small basket, woven from willow branches, the same one he carried to the garden every evening. But this morning, there was nothing inside. No carrots, no radishes, no single green leaf. The air smelled of cold soil and dry hay. A crow landed on the fence post, tilted its head and watched. And if you have ever woken up hungry, knowing the day would be long, you already understand how little Bunny felt. His whiskers drooped. His ears flattened just slightly. The empty basket sat beside him like a question. But little Bunny did not sit and wait. He remembered something Farmer Gray had told him once. On a day much like this one, Farmer Gray said, "When the frost comes early, the garden hides its gifts deeper. The carrots push further into the warm earth. The pumpkins wait under their leaves. Nothing is lost. It is just hidden. And if you have ever wondered what the garden keeps safe beneath the frost, this is the moment to stay close. Subscribe so you do not miss the next secret the soil reveals. Each story peels back one more layer of the farm's slow truth." In the comments, tell us one thing you imagine might be hiding under the frost at Green Meadow Farm. Little Bunny stood up. He picked up the willow basket with his 2 front paws. The basket was light, empty, but it would not stay that way. He knew where the last carrots were growing, down by the old stone wall, where the soil stayed soft even after the frost. He had seen their tops just yesterday. Small green feathers against the brown ground. But someone else had seen them too. A field mouse, whose home was under the stone wall, had been watching the same carrots. Her name was Mabel, and she had 3 tiny children who had never tasted a winter carrot before. Little Bunny did not know this yet. He only knew his basket was empty, and the morning was cold, and the carrots were waiting. He hopped toward the stone wall, the basket bumping against his leg. The grass was stiff with frost. Each step left a tiny print in the white. And if you have ever walked somewhere important, knowing something good was waiting at the end, you know the feeling that filled little Bunny's chest. Not excitement, not hurry, something warmer, something like knowing. When he reached the wall, he saw the carrot tops. They were small, but bright green against the grey stones. He set down the basket and began to dig. The soil was cold. It crumbled under his paws. He dug carefully, gently, the way Farmer Gray had taught him. Not pulling, scooping, letting the soil fall away naturally. And then he saw it, the orange shoulder of a carrot pushing up from the dark earth. But as he reached for it, he heard a sound, a small, squeaky sound, coming from under the wall. Little Bunny stopped. He turned his head. A tiny nose poked out from between the stones. Whiskers twitched. 2 dark eyes blinked at him. The mouse did not run. She stood there watching, and behind her, little Bunny could hear the soft squeaking of babies hidden deep in the nest. He looked at the carrot. He looked at his basket. He looked at the mouse. And he understood something that Farmer Gray had never needed to explain. The garden feeds everyone, not just the ones who carry baskets. Little Bunny pulled the carrot from the earth. It was long and orange, with tiny hairs along its side. Dirt clung to it like small brown jewels. But instead of placing it in his basket, he held it out toward the mouse. The mouse came closer. She sniffed the carrot. Then she looked at Little Bunny. Her eyes were round and dark, and they seemed to say something that did not need words. Little Bunny broke the carrot in half. He placed one half on the ground near the wall. The other half he tucked into his basket. The mouse took the half carrot and disappeared back under the stones. The squeaking from the nest grew softer, then stopped. Little Bunny picked up his basket. It still felt light. One half of a carrot was not enough for a meal, but it was enough for a start. And if you believe that sharing fills more than baskets, you belong here. Subscribe to be part of this gentle farm community. Every story reminds us that the garden feeds everyone. In the comments, share something small you have given away that made your heart feel a little larger. He turned and hopped back toward the garden. The frost was melting now. The sun had climbed above the barn roof, and the world was turning gold. He passed the pumpkin patch, where a single pumpkin still sat, its skin orange and thick, untouched by the frost. It was too heavy for Little Bunny to carry, but he could see it, and he could remember, and he could come back. He passed the parsley bed where the leaves were still green, still sweet, still waiting. And then he saw Farmer Gray, standing by the barn door, holding a small cloth sack. Farmer Gray smiled, the same smile he always wore when he had been watching all along. He opened the sack. Inside were carrots. Many carrots. More than Little Bunny could count. Farmer Gray did not ask where Little Bunny's carrot had gone. He did not need to. He just knelt down and placed the sack beside the willow basket. "The garden feeds everyone," he said, "even the ones who share what they find." Little Bunny looked at the full sack. He looked at his empty basket, and he understood that the basket had never really been empty at all. He had carried hope in it. He had carried patience. And now he carried carrots and the memory of a mouse who would eat tonight because he had shared. He hopped back toward the cottage, the basket heavy now, bumping against his leg with every step. And if you have ever shared something small and felt your heart grow larger because of it, you understand what Little Bunny felt as the sun climbed higher and the frost disappeared from the grass. The basket was no longer empty, neither was the night. That evening, Little Bunny sat on the cottage step, watching the sky turn from orange to pink to deep blue. The carrots from Farmer Gray's sack were washed and sliced, some in a bowl for his own supper, some saved for tomorrow. The stars came out one by one, small and bright, like seeds planted in the dark. And in his mind, Little Bunny saw the mouse again, and her 3 tiny children, and the half carrot resting on the ground near the stone wall. He did not know if the mouse had eaten it. He did not need to know. The sharing was enough. The knowing that something he had done had made the world a little warmer, a little fuller, a little less empty. Somewhere, In the dark soil of Green Meadow Farm, the carrots were still growing. The frost would come again. The leaves would brown and curl, but the earth would keep its secret, and another morning would come, and another basket would need to be filled, and little Bunny would be there, hopping, digging, sharing. As he closed his eyes, the night air smelled of hay and damp wood. His fur rose and fell with each breath. Above him, the stars that had watched 1,000 harvests watched one more. And the basket, now empty again, sat beside his nest, waiting, ready. Because an empty basket is not a sad thing. It is a thing that can be filled. And tomorrow, there would be more to share. The garden feeds everyone. That is the secret the soil keeps. And little Bunny, who had learned it with his own paws, curled into a small warm ball and slept. And somewhere, in a burrow beneath the old stone wall, 3 tiny mice slept with full bellies. Their mother curled around them, the taste of winter carrot still sweet on their tongues. The frost settled over Green Meadow Farm like a soft white blanket. The pumpkin leaves lay flat and still. The parsley bent its leaves toward the ground. Everything rested. Farmer Gray closed the barn door and walked toward his own cottage, his boots leaving dark prints in the frost. He stopped once, looked back at the small willow basket resting beside little Bunny's nest, and smiled. The moon rose above the fields, round and pale, casting silver light over the carrot tops that still waited in the soil. They would wait. They knew how. In the morning, the frost would melt again. The sun would warm the stones, and little Bunny would wake to find his basket waiting, empty but full of possibility. But that was tomorrow. Tonight, the farm held its breath. The stars watched, the soil kept its secret. And a small bunny, who had learned that sharing fills more than baskets, slept without dreaming, warm beneath the hay, one paw resting gently on the rim of an empty basket that was not empty at all. And the moon watched. It watched the mouse asleep with her children, their small paws tucked beneath their chins, the taste of carrot still a secret they would carry into tomorrow. It watched the frost spread across the garden, covering the soil like a mother pulling a blanket over her child. It watched the carrots sleeping underground, their orange bodies tucked deep in the earth, waiting for the moment when little Bunny would come again with his small paws and his gentle heart. And it watched the willow basket sitting beside the nest, its empty curve holding nothing but moonlight. But that was enough, because an empty basket is not a lack. It is a space for something new, a space for the frost to melt into, a space for the morning sun to fill first, before the carrots do. And that was exactly how it should be. Before the night closes, there is still time to hold this moment close. Subscribe so you're here when little Bunny wakes to a new day. The garden will have more to share, and you will be part of it. In the comments, leave the word enough if you felt that tonight's story was exactly that. For the first time all day, little Bunny stopped thinking about the garden, about the carrots, about the mouse, about the frost. He simply was. A small bunny, curled in hay, beneath the stars, on a farm that had fed him and taught him and held him. And that was enough. The night wrapped around him like the softest fur, and Green Meadow Farm settled into silence. Somewhere, a cricket sang one last note, then stopped. The world was still, and little Bunny slept.